If you want an affordable exhaust that looks great and sounds even better for your 2019 and newer 5.3-liter Sierra 1500, then MBRP's Armor Black middle side exit system is the kit for you. Featuring a classic hot rod style look with some really killer sound, this makes for a great addition to any build, and it really does sound the business. On our loudness meter, we're going to give this a pretty stout 3 out of 5. It's not super loud, but definitely enough to get your truck noticed. But that also makes it perfect for a daily driven truck. I will continue to beat the drum for MBRP's exhaust because they give you some of the best sound you can get for your money. But there's more to like with this particular system than just the value and the noise, though admittedly, the sound really is the best part. This system really wakes up the good old 5.3 and it gives it the sound that it should have had right off the factory floor. It's exactly what you'd expect out of a small block Chevy. You get a deep and rumbly idle with a nice bark on a cold startup, and a lot more characterful growl when you bury the go pedal. And as you heard from the clips at the start of the video, it really sounds great without going overboard. Now this is a full catback system, and thus it's going to eliminate your factory muffler and resonator. The key to the sound here is twofold. The first is MBRP's suitcase style muffler. Now this one is their street profile, meaning that it is the less loud option. It's not exactly what you'd call quiet. Now the design of the muffler, though it is chambered, you can see right through it, and of course, as you might be able to hear right now, there is some packing inside and some other things to absorb the sound. Now that means that despite the extra volume, it will still be tolerable on your commute or on a long road trip. The other key to this system is the J-pipe or the Helmholtz resonator, which is a really nice thing to see here. This is specifically integrated to help combat drone, especially when cylinder deactivation kicks in. So it's going to maintain that great sound without affecting the volume, and it's going to make things all that more tolerable for you and your passengers inside of the cabin. Now that's especially welcome considering that this does exit just behind the cab on the passenger side of the truck, putting the pipes physically closer to your ear than your stock one. But that just means you'll get to hear it more clearly. And it also looks killer. The middle side exit is my favorite type of setup because, well, frankly, it just looks awesome. And it gives you a bit of that old school hot rod feel on a modern truck. The black piping and tips also help here, making it a bit more of a subtle update. That is until you fire it up. The piping here is comprised of 3-inch tubing into the muffler and 2.5-inch tubing out to the tips. All the piping here is mandrel bent, and combined with the less restrictive muffler and resonator, this will flow better than your stock exhaust, which can give you a small bump in power and response. Now material-wise, this is all aluminized steel piping, which is well suited to a truck that lives in a drier climate or where they don't use a ton of corrosive salt on the roads. However, MBRP has also thoughtfully coated all the piping from the muffler back to the tips in this high-temp black powder coat. Not only does it look really good, but it also gives you some additional protection against rust and corrosion, which is a nice touch. The tips are 4-inch T304 stainless steel, and again, these are coated in that same black as the rest of the piping, so everything is going to match nicely. Pricing comes in at about $800, and that does put this on the more affordable side of the spectrum of exhaust for these trucks. And for what you're getting here, I do think it's a pretty good value. You get great sound, good volume, and a cool look with some extra protection thrown in for good measure, which is an all-around good recipe. Installation gets a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and the job should take you around 2 hours to complete. This is designed to be a bolt-on installation, so you don't need to modify anything permanently on the truck itself. However, you are going to need to bolt up some additional exhaust hangers, but that's really about it. And we're going to walk you through the install process right now, and for that, let's head on out to the shop.
Tools required for this install include an impact gun, a ratchet, an exhaust hanger remover tool, 13 and 14 millimeter wrenches, an extension, 13, 14, 15, and 17 millimeter sockets, swivel adapter, 8 millimeter Allen socket, and a pry bar. What's up guys? Today we're installing an exhaust on our Sierra. First we're going to watch a quick uninstall video showing you how to remove your factory exhaust, and then we'll meet you right back here for the install.
All right guys, so we've got our truck in the air, and the first thing we're going to do is start at the tail section, and we're going to go ahead and unbolt this crossover pipe. So that's got a 2-bolt flange connecting it, so it's a 13 millimeter swivel socket and extension on our impact. We're going to fish that up in there, unbolt those 2 nuts, and then we can go ahead and remove the rear hanger and get this driver's side crossover tube out, and then we can move on to the rest of our system. So now we're going to come back to our tail section, and what we're going to do is remove this entire isolator instead of trying to get this out of the isolator. It's much easier to just go ahead and take this 15mm bolt out and remove this whole assembly as one piece, and then we can take it off once it's on the ground. So we'll grab our 15mm socket on our impact and go ahead and run that bolt out. Now we will need to support our tailpipe here while we go ahead and unbolt that. Now that we have that unbolted, we'll go ahead and unhook this from its locator and twist that down. So now we've got our driver's side tailpipe in hand, and what we're going to do is push it towards the driver's side wheel here so to get it off of the two mounting studs on that flange, and then we're going to go ahead and drop it down and pull it back and go ahead and get it out. So like so. So now we can go ahead and start removing the main section of our catback. So what we're going to do is start at the ball flare clamp here at the end of our Y pipe, and we're going to go ahead and loosen that up. We're going to go ahead and remove the hangers as well, moving all the way back to the tailpipe, and then go ahead and remove the other rear hanger isolator just as we showed you on the driver's side with another 15mm bolt. We're going to go ahead and throw a pole jack under the muffler to help support the system while we do this. So now we can go ahead and grab our 13mm socket on our impact, loosen up this clamp, get it out of the way. Knock this off here. You just want to push this back far enough to where it doesn't interfere with your connection. So next we're going to go ahead and remove this hanger from the isolator. So we've got our hanger removal tool, and we'll go ahead and pop that out. So now we've come to the rear of our system, and just like the other side, we're going to go ahead and pop this rear hanger isolator off, then go ahead and remove the two mid hangers at the muffler, and then go ahead and remove our system. So we've got our 15mm socket on our ratchet. We'll go ahead and pop this off, work our way up to the middle two hangers, and then go ahead and pop those off. Got that out. Go ahead and remove that from its locator so it's out of the way. We can even take that all the way off right now. So now we've got our hanger removal tool. We'll go ahead and get these two muffler hangers off. And we've also got an extra set of hands. This is going to be very helpful to get this system off, as it needs to kind of finagle around the differential and the cross member up front. Now you want to make sure you are supporting your system as you remove this last hanger. We'll go ahead and lower our pole jack. Get that out of the way. Then we'll have to slide our system to the side. Let's get it down. So now we're going to have to bring our system back a hair. You want to make sure you don't catch it on any lines or anything like that. So once you get your mid-pipe flange across your cross member, you can start to go back forward. Drop the front of your system down. And go ahead and feed your system out. So now that we have everything off, we'll go ahead and pull this last rear hanger isolator off from our driver's side one that we set aside earlier. So we'll just go ahead and pop that right off and go ahead and set it aside.
So now with our stock exhaust removed, the first thing we're going to do is install our front pipe. We've got a rod that we're going to get into our hanger, and then we're going to reuse our factory clamp at our flange. So we're going to raise this up, get it over the cross member first, and then connected to our exhaust. So now slide your front pipe over that cross member. Get your flange connected, and then slide your rod into your isolator, and then slide that factory clamp over your flange, And then we're gonna grab our 13mm socket to tighten down the bolt. Make sure that clamp stays on straight as you tighten it down. So now if you have a regular cab with the long box, you're gonna have to cut 7.5 inches off this pipe. For all crew cab models, you're just gonna leave this the length that it comes. Ours is a crew cab, so we didn't cut ours. Now we also have the extension pipe. This is gonna be for the crew cabs with the long bed. So if you have a long bed, you're gonna slide that on here with one of your clamps and take your 15mm socket to tighten it down. Ours is a crew cab with a short bed, so we don't need to install this part, but if you have the long bed, you're gonna need to throw that on. Now before we get our muffler in here, I'm gonna get our exhaust hanger. So the first one we're gonna do is this 90-degree bent hanger. We've got our cross member here, right in the middle of our gas tank. We're gonna go up through this oval hole, and it will poke out at the top of the frame up here. Now on top of that, you need to get a flat washer on there. And then we've got a lock washer and a nut. And just thread your bolt into that nut. And then just straighten out your hanger and grab a 14mm socket on the bolt and a 14mm wrench on the nut and tighten that down. Now next we have this 45-degree bent hanger that's going to be going right here on our frame. This is right behind the front mount of your leaf spring. So we have this hole up here that we're going to be dropping a bolt as well as a plate through. So we've got this carriage bolt and our plate, and that's going to slide in and lock into place. And then we've got this fishing string that we're going to thread onto this bolt. And then just give it a tug, make sure it's on there good. We're gonna take one end of the string and go through that hole and then fish it out through this hole and then feed that bolt plate in, pull it down and through, and then you can remove it. Next, grab your hanger, slide that on, and then we've got a flat washer, a lock washer, and a nut going on there. Now this one I'm just gonna snug up for now, just in case we need to do any kind of maneuvering to get our hanger in, because it's pretty close here to that front leaf spring mount. Now next we can install our muffler. So grab one of your clamps, slide it over the edge of your pipe, and slide that on. Now I'm going to take a 15mm socket just to snug up this clamp. I still want to be able to have some maneuverability while we get our two tailpipes in. So I'm just going to snug it just so it holds. And then we can still move that back and forth, so we're just going to leave it like that for now. So now we're ready to get our tailpipes in. So I'm going to take my two clamps and slide those over the muffler outlets. And then first we're going to take the pipe without the hangers. We've got to get that one in first. So I'm just going to slide that in. I'll let it hang down there for now. And then get your pipe with the two hangers. That's going to be going in the top. So just pop that in. Get your rod into that isolator. And then we're going to work on this other one. And it looks like we might have to pop this isolator off and slide it onto this pipe first and then get it onto our hanger here. So I'm going to grab my exhaust hanger remover tool to pop that off. So now just take your hanger remover tool and pop that isolator off. And I'm going to get that on our tailpipe first. I'm going to push it on as far as it'll go. And then get that onto your hanger. Next up, we're going to connect our two pipes from this tab. So take your bolt with a flat washer, drop it through the top, connect your two pipes together. And then we've got a lock washer and a nut for the bottom. And I'm just going to snug this down until it holds, but we still have some maneuverability here. And then we'll go back, tighten down our clamps, and get this all lined up. So now we're going to go back and adjust our exhaust to get it how we want it to sit. Now I usually grab my tips to slide those on and get it aligned. This will kind of show you the final product, how it's going to be. And right there, we're looking pretty good with how they're sitting. So once you have it in a spot that you like it, you can go back, start tightening down all your clamps and wrap this up. So first thing I'm going to do is go back and tighten down my hanger. I'm going to take a 17mm socket to tighten that down. And then as you're tightening things and working your way down, just keep going back to check on your tips, make sure they're still where you like them. So now I'm gonna take a 13 mil socket and wrench to tighten down the connection between my two pipes. And now we'll just go back and tighten down these 3 clamps on our muffler. Now on the muffler outlet side, you want to tighten down your top one first so you can rotate this out of the way before you block access to it with that clamp. So get it in place, take your 15 millimeter socket and tighten it down. Same thing with the bottom one. And now my tips are still looking good back there. So I'm going to tighten down my last one behind my muffler. And now adjust your tips to how you like them. And then we're gonna take an 8 millimeter Allen socket to tighten down our 2 bolts. Now I'm using an extension and a swivel adapter just to make my life a little bit easier. So that'll wrap up this review and install of the MBRP Armor Black Dual Exhaust System middle side exit for your 2019 and newer 5.3 liter Sierra 1500. Thank you for watching, and for all things Sierra, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.